Welcome back to the Awesome Agents podcast. So Maya, this one is wild. The Pentagon has basically summoned Dario Amodei for what officials are calling an ultimatum meeting.
Yeah, and I want to be clear about the stakes here. This is not a routine contract negotiation. Defense Secretary Hegseth is threatening to label Anthropic a supply chain risk. That is a designation normally reserved for foreign adversaries like Huawei.
Okay, so walk me through what that actually means in practice. If they slap that label on Anthropic, what happens?
Every single company that does business with the Pentagon would have to certify that they do not use Claude anywhere in their operations. And Anthropic says 8 out of the 10 largest US companies already use Claude. So you are talking about a logistical nightmare across corporate America.
That is a massive hammer to swing. What does the Pentagon actually want from Anthropic?
They want all 4 major labs, Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, and xAI, to allow military use for, quote, all lawful purposes. That includes weapons development, intelligence collection, battlefield operations, the full spectrum.
And the other labs are going along with this?
Okay, mostly yes. xAI agreed to full access at any classification level. OpenAI and Google are negotiating, but showing flexibility. Anthropic is the holdout. They have 2 red lines they will not cross.
Which are?
No mass surveillance of Americans and no fully autonomous weapons that operate without a human in the loop. They have signaled they will loosen other restrictions, but those 2 are non-negotiable.
I mean, those sound like pretty reasonable lines to draw. What is the Pentagon's argument against that?
Their CTO, Emil Michael, frames it as a question of democratic legitimacy. His argument is that Congress writes the laws, agencies write the regulations, and companies comply. He says it is not democratic for a private company to impose its own restrictions above what the law requires.
That is an interesting framing, but is it accurate?
It is a political argument more than a legal one. Companies set terms of service all the time. No one calls it undemocratic when a cloud provider refuses to host certain content. But the Pentagon is essentially saying, when it comes to national defense, you do not get to have ethical red lines beyond what the law mandates.
Now, here is the part that really got me. There is this whole backstory about Claude being used in the raid that captured Venezuelan President Maduro. What happened there?
So on January 3rd, U.S. Special Operations captured Maduro, and Claude was reportedly used during that operation through Palantir's infrastructure. The exact role is classified, but afterwards, someone at Anthropic contacted Palantir questioning whether their software was used. Palantir interpreted that as disapproval and reported it to the Pentagon.
And that is what escalated everything from a contract dispute to a full confrontation.
Exactly. It went from a simmering policy disagreement to the Pentagon saying, we cannot work with a partner that second guesses military operations after the fact.
Let us talk about the irony here. Claude is currently the only frontier AI model on classified defense networks. If they push Anthropic out, what do they actually use instead?
Nothing, at least not immediately. That is the leverage Anthropic has, and honestly, it is significant. The Pentagon would lose its most capable tool for sensitive intelligence work with no ready replacement. You cannot just swap in a different model on classified networks overnight.
So the Pentagon is threatening to cut off the only advanced AI it actually has on its secure systems. That seems like a cell phone.
It does, and I think that is partly why a lot of observers expect a compromise. The most likely outcome is some kind of partial deal with ambiguous language that lets both sides claim a win and pushes the hardest questions down the road.
Classic Washington.
Classic Washington. But here is the thing that matters beyond this one deal. If Anthropic, the company that literally exists because of AI safety concerns, cannot hold its safety lines against government pressure, what does that say to every other lab?
Right. The $200 million contract is a rounding error for a company worth $380 billion. But the precedent is everything.
Exactly. This is a defining moment for the relationship between Silicon Valley and the defense establishment. The message to every tech company is, if you want to work with the Pentagon, there is no room for your own ethical boundaries. The government decides the limits, not you.
Do you think Amodei holds the line on Tuesday?
I think he holds the 2 red lines, but gives ground on almost everything else. And the Pentagon will probably accept that because losing Claude on classified networks is a worse outcome than not getting everything they want.
We will be watching Tuesday closely. That is it for today. Thanks for listening, and we will see you on the next one.
See you next time.